Hi, I'm R.G. Skadberg, attorney with CCSK Law here in Valparaiso, Indiana, where we simplify the law for you, and we're always working to lower hurdles between your legal issue and its solution. Beautiful Friday afternoon here in Valparaiso. It was actually about 15 minutes from leaving the office and heading out to the golf course. See if I could slip in 9, maybe sneak in 18, who knows. Got a phone call kind of out of the blue from a person seeking some information. And sort of a unfortunate situation about practicing law is that sometimes you're going to pass along information to someone that really is not what they want to hear. And that's going to be this story. Now, I will tell you that I've heard this enough that I wanted to take a little bit of time to share this story with you. So you, hopefully, if this is your circumstance or somebody that you know, you can correct this. You can not end up in the same spot as this woman I ended up speaking to. I practice in estate planning, which is basically the process of figuring out who you want to provide for after you're gone and what you want to do with your property, and then putting the legal pieces in place to help make that happen. Everyone's heard that they need a will. I'm not such big a believer in that. In fact, I'm going to show you why this person's will didn't accomplish the task that maybe he intended. But there's other things that you can do to accomplish what you want. I do some elder law, and then I do probate. Now, the irony of me doing probate is that I'm trying to avoid probate by doing planning with people, but there's still a lot of people out there who didn't plan or didn't plan in a way to avoid probate. So probate in Indiana, just real quick in there, if you want more information about this, I encourage you to look at some of the click-through stuff below. There's some writing that I've done on probate, and depending on when you watch this video, there may be some additional videos going into more detail about probate. But suffice to say, in Indiana, if you die and have more than $50,000 in your name after your death, then the court wants to be involved with the process of saying that creditors are taken care of, that notice is given to the fact that you've passed, and that your property goes to those people that you either named or that the state thinks you would have named. So not everybody has to go through probate, but if you do have that $50,000 in your name after your death, the state wants you to come through the probate process. Now, if you have probate and you've done a will, the will is basically your instructions to the court to say, here's how I want to be in charge, and here's how I want my assets to be distributed. That's all a will does. It is not something that's going to really come into play while you're living, and it may not, in fact, come into play after you're gone, because as in this situation I'm going to share with you, it wasn't going to go through court, the probate process. So here's the situation. A woman calls, father had passed away. Here, a little background, her mother and dad had divorced previously. Dad had remarried. Dad had told daughter that he had left things for her in his will. We didn't get into details about what that was. I'm not even sure that he did. He had just reassured her that he had provided for her in his will. The problem is the will's never going to see the light of day. As best we can tell, Dad died and will not have anything to cause probate for his estate. How would that be? Might be the question you ask. It should be the question you ask, because that's what I'm going to answer. So, as I said, we can plan to avoid probate. In Indiana, as I said, $50,000 in your name, there'll be things that happen to move things out of your name. You could have $1 million in your name right before you die. And then after you die, you could have nothing in your name. In this situation, as best we can tell, her father and his wife owned things jointly. Now, jointly doesn't mean 50-50. Jointly means both parties own 100%, but when you die, your 100% dies with you. It's a survivor wins game. In fact, it's called joint tenancy with rights of survivorship. The person that survives gets the property. Since that property automatically moves when the person dies, it's not there to count after he's deceased, and so we don't have dollars being added up to need probate. Most people who are married in Indiana are going to own most of their property jointly. I have no statistical research on that other than my own experience living in Indiana as a married person and knowing married persons. And being an attorney who's met a lot of these people. So I'm not going to give you a statistic. I'm just going to cite this, and if you want to prove me wrong, have fun. But anyway, because so many things are owned jointly, when the first person passes in Indiana, we don't need probate, because all the stuff that was owned jointly is going to transfer to the surviving spouse. It could be the house, it could be a vehicle or vehicles, it could be bank accounts. Those are all jointly held assets that are going to move. Life insurance, retirement plans, those are going to have beneficiaries, and they may pay straight to the wife, or they may pay if you did something else, but they're not going to be counted and not go through probate. So since we're not going through probate, the will is not going to come out. So in the conversation with the woman who called, that's what we think happened. Bank accounts, vehicles, house, all jointly owned, go to the surviving spouse. She has no legal obligation to provide for the daughter of her now deceased husband. And the woman who I talked to has no legal action against the stepmother. That woman could do whatever she wants with those assets. If she has her own kids, she could distribute, she could spend them all, she could give them all to charity, it doesn't matter. Those are now owned by her. So this happens far more often than I think people realize, and the problem is it wasn't purposeful. It's an accidental disinheritance of a child, or children in this case. And the thing that's probably most irksome for me is that the father probably thought he was doing the right thing. He provided in his will, but it wasn't explained to him that the will wouldn't have any effect if there wasn't a probate and assets held back or given to her directly. So I felt horrible having to share this news with the woman who called, but I felt motivated to share this story here, so hopefully someone else can learn from this issue. And if it is your situation or someone you know's situation, you can take a couple of moments and say, we need to plan better. I believe so much in this, not just taking time on a Friday afternoon to share this, but I have free consultations with people just to try to get your head around who you want to provide for and what you own and how we need to plan to get that property where you want it to be. That situation that I discussed where everything went, there was a way to avoid that from happening. A couple of different ways to avoid that from happening, but it's done now. It can't be undone. So don't get yourself stuck in that spot. Don't let somebody you know get stuck in that spot. Take some time. Take advantage of the free consultation with me. Call 219-230-3600. Visit our website, ccSKlaw.com. Click through some of the links below with some additional information. Again, my plan, if you come in with a consultation, we'll just talk about your circumstances. That's the crazy thing about this. Everybody's situation is far more different than what they believe. And you don't have to have $1 million to be concerned about this. This could be just a house and a bank account and maybe some investments that you want to try to get to a particular spot. Make sure you have a plan to do that. And better, make sure you understand what your plan's going to do to accomplish what it is that you want to do. 219-230-3600, ccSKlaw.com. I'm RG Skadberg. I really do appreciate you taking a few minutes to look through this. If you have something you want me to address, maybe in a future video, you can put it in the comments below. I'd love your feedback on this video. Is it helpful? Or are there things maybe you want me to go deeper on? Do you want me to wear a different shirt, change my hair, whatever it might be? Appreciate your feedback on that. Appreciate your time. I hope you have, whatever day of the week it is, a great balance of your day. And we'll, again, talk soon.